Hey everybody, can you believe we are back with the Art Corner? It's been over a year, but we are back. I'm really fluffy, and since I'm fluffy, I thought I would do a pig. I felt like a lot of people could relate to the pig right now. We've got the summer to get this COVID weight off, and that's what we need to do. But in the meantime, let's paint a pig. I went ahead and took the liberty of drawing and doing the background because this show you have to do it really quick. And I haven't done it in so long, I thought I would make it kind of something I could tackle in just a little while. I hope you enjoy this. I am doing him in oil. Got my little palette out here. Got most of my background done. I think I'm gonna add some straw and tweak him just a little bit. But here we go. I'm gonna use a palette that's got black, titanium white, a couple of flesh tones. He's very piggy. And what I like the most about this picture are the little hairs that just fray off him. They're just loose and fly away. And I thought that would be a really cute little pig. And I bet somebody will want to buy him because he is so cute. I'm going to go ahead and start though. You can see the highlight back in the back. And this will look completely different when we get little piggy looking at you. Whenever you do an oil painting, remember, draw it first, spray it second, start from the back and pull forward. So I've gotten all my background done except for some hay I'm gonna do around. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with some of the background on this pig. And even though he's light pink, I'm gonna add a little bit of orange to this flesh tone so that his ears really they're inside, so they're a little darker. We're gonna pop them in with some dark flesh orange, and I'm gonna use a little umber too. Now I'm kind of rusty. It's been a while, so guys, y'all hang with me. Do his ears. You can see my pencil marks, but I think I'm gonna get it thick enough where they'll go away. I hope when you were in through the pandemic, that you painted. I've had a lot of people tell me they did. It was therapeutic, something you could do at home, and it eased a lot of people's anxieties, and that's what it does. Painting is very, very therapeutic. I highly recommend it. Doesn't pay much money, but the anxiety relief is well worth the time that you would spend doing it. Here we go. Let's just do a rough inside first. I'm gonna do both sides so I can keep them even. He's cute as a button. There were two pigs that I was gonna choose from, and this little guy won. I may do another one eventually, but he was just so cute. People just love pigs. I'm glad. That's what I feel like. Now I'm gonna do the inside of his ear. With a little more brown. Ooh, that's blue, sorry. Let's get some black in there, really. Something else with an oil painting or any painting, that you need to make sure that you remember are values, which is your dark and lights. And I think we've talked about this before, but your darks and your lights separate the men from the boys. It really shows whether or not you've got an artistic confidence. Don't be chicken with your darks and your lights. If it's dark, make it dark, really dark. And if it's light, make it really light. And it helps dimensionalize your painting. And it also helps really show that you've got some confidence in that. I've seen a lot of students just do their stuff real light and faint because they're scared. If they make a mistake, nobody will see it. They'll see it if it's dark or light. So go ahead and make your values very prominent in anything you're doing. And remember this, it's just paint. You don't need to be afraid of it. It's not permanent like a tattoo. You can paint right over it. So don't be afraid of paint. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of really talented tattoo artists out there. For you to be able to have that confidence to do that on somebody's skin forever, you're pretty good. I could probably make a lot of money doing tattoos. Here we go. go. Do a little pink, a little red. His little ears look like they're hot, like they're warm. Now I'm leaving an edge open for some lighter color. And then also there's a little bit of skin right here. I want to make room for that. A little bit of skin right here. This little pig's sick of being in the house. He wants to get out. Now, I am going to start on the body of this little pig, and I'm going to use, really behind him is probably a brown or a darker flesh, and then we can lighten it up with some lighter colors. But I'm going to go ahead and do the darker underneath first so that that light will really pop. He's got a little purple shadow. And one thing you can do to match your flesh tones in a painting, females, you can use your face makeup, your base coat for your face that you use, your CoverGirl, your Maybelline. Put it on your palette, and when you start mixing flesh tones, he's not necessarily flesh tones, but when you start mixing flesh tones, you can match up your face makeup with your oil or acrylic paint. And that's a little cheat note. But it helps you know what skin tone. Sometimes people look yellow if you're not careful. Or they'll look too, they'll just look too off color, too gray or something. But he is so cute. But we do need to get the dark behind him. I'm using a little tiny bit of black and some umber. Once again, I use these nylon brushes with an angle. That's just my favorite. I'm sure you all have a favorite too. This is the one I just love to use. I feel like I've got control and it holds the paint very well. And it also depends kind of on what type of artist you are. If you're an impressionistic artist, like my sister does impressionism, and she'll use a bristle brush. And that holds the paint in a different way and you get a different look to your painting. So it just kind of, whatever you're used to doing and how loose or tight you want your painting to be. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get the shadow. It looks like the light source is coming this way. So this part of the pig is gonna be darker, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and start using the black in with my pink. Pretty dark, but don't worry, we will lighten him up. Getting all his little fat rolls in here. Here's a good fat roll right here. He's really pink and fat rolly down here. Let's make this crease. I'm using mineral spirits and linseed oil as my blending mediums. Here we go, just sort of outlining all his little crevices. Now this shadow looks like it just abruptly stops right here. We'll lighten it up in a minute. Let's get that jaw way down there. I'd say he had a few combo meals during his quarantine. Now, I'm gonna squirt out just a little more pink. Another tip to being a good artist is don't use cheap paint. Find the one that costs a little more, Grombacher, Dowling, Rawling. Some of those paints, they may cost a little bit more, but it's well worth it. There's his little nose pink. Since I did spray my pencil marks with a fixative, I can still see them. And if you don't, when you start painting and blending, they'll go away and you almost have to redraw your subject with paint. So it's better if you can see some of your pencil lines. Now, I'm going to layer some of this jaw down here. We don't want it quite that dark. And I'll probably do his little hairy details with a fan brush. Did I bring one? Yes, I did. Fan brushes are great for fur, loose hair. Fan brush looks like this. And they're great for doing little fine hairlines. I did paint the whole time we were out with COVID. I painted something every week, and I just enjoyed it so much. I love my job. And if you paint, you would love it too. If we have another pandemic, get your painting skills up. Here we go. I'm going to go right around the edge of this ear. Right around the edge of this ear. And it takes away the little start stop lines where I did my background. I got it involved in my pig. Here we go. Fine line. While it's on my brush, I'm going to do this in too. There we go. I know he's a little cartoony, but we'll try to make him as realistic looking as we can. He would be cute on a little note card. You can go have these, have your painting put in a card stock and actually use it for a note card. Thank you notes, come to dinner, that kind of thing. There we go. And I'm going to clean my brush off and get back into this color down here, this pinky red. Now red, you don't play with red much, okay? Red is very angry and independent. So once you get red on your brush, if you don't clean in between, it takes over. So make sure if you're using red that you clean your brush in between sections that you're using it, because it will absolutely take over. See, look there, how dark. But that's okay, we need that pop. I'm gonna put a little bit of red up in, a little more up in here. We don't want him boring. He's worked hard for his cuteness. Now I'm gonna bring this out too with a little red, just a little bit. Get that edge a little wider. Very red here. Right down in here. This is just dark hidden fat back up in there. So we want to get this back in here, kind of pig that's hidden in the shadows right under here. There we go. Get this little crease here. Now I'm going to clean my brush because I used red, and I'm going to lighten up my colors a little bit. Paper towel right here beside my palette. And I did go cheap. You can go cheap on your palette. Just don't go cheap on your paint. I'm using a paper plate or styrofoam plate for my palette. And that way you can either just use one on top of the other and keep your paints wet, or throw them out. There we go. You can also buy little palettes at art supply stores that you just rip off and throw them away. And they have sort of a wax coating on them. They make all this stuff disposable now. Here we go, outline that ear. Okay. Now, I think we've talked about this before, it's been a while, but what the important thing with any painting, I learned this from a very seasoned good friend of mine. are eyes and skies. So even with a pig, you want to make sure that the eyes look very realistic. So I'm going to start getting the crevices around his eyes. Now let me change the size of brush for that. Going to go a little smaller. Still using the nylon. This one's flat. And I got into my black some, and I'm going to sort of highlight some of these ridges to define his eye. And if you lose your spot, I have to do this sometimes, put your finger on your art reference so you won't lose where you are, because sometimes looking up and down like this, you'll lose your place. So sometimes I'll just place my finger and point at what I'm looking at, so when I look back down quickly, I won't lose my spot. So just put my finger here and just kind of make sure I don't lose it. There we go. He's got a few little eye boogers right here. One over here. Eye boogers are just cute on a pig. Okay, there's another big jaw. I'm going to sort of outline his nose a little bit with this color. It's coming alive. Now, let me get solid black. And I don't have him laying down, so I'm going to take my pinky and I'm going to lay it on my canvas to steady my hand and get this really strong detail. Now I can go back over that little fingerprint. But that's, a lot of artists sometimes too will use a board and lay their hand on it. But just lay your pinky down like that, and it will steady your hand, especially if you've had coffee or you might have a little shake. There we go. Get his eyeballs right here. Okay, now I'm going to dab off that excess and see about smearing that around a little bit. Well, I've got my small brush. There's a little dark right up here. While it's on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and get it. I'm also going to make this area right here a little deeper. Okay, over here as well. Go. Eye booger, there we go. Now this space is positive space right here where the pig is. Your background space is your negative space. I'm going to change brushes yet again and do this flat nylon. There we go. Now I'm going to kind of blend these colors that I've added, these new ones. You want to get rid of your canvas holes, and those are the holes that you'll see sometimes in a painting where the canvas isn't covered completely with gesso. And your oils just sink down. They don't sink down in those holes like they should. All right. So you want to make sure you go back over that. You may even need mineral spirits to get rid of those canvas holes. We want to make him look nice and not angry, so you want to be careful with your eyebrows. Make sure they're really sweet and nice, not down and mean. There we go. I knew it'd take a little longer with Pig. That's why I went ahead and drew him first. I wanted to take my time. Go more and more. There's a big contrast between this area and this area, and I want to make sure that stays. My white. And there's a little hair. Little pink hair right in here. All right, now I'm going to lighten up this cheek a little bit. We need to get his nose base coated. So I'm going to use kind of this darker flesh for his nose. There we go. Isn't he, darling? And he's got one nostril higher than the other because he's got his head kind of tilted. Now we'll do some varying here on his nose, make a little bit of a, let's see, I think that's more brown. Yeah, right here it's kind of more brown. I hope everybody is well, and I hope you're out and about. Let's get back to normal. It feels good to be in a routine again. And summer's here. Trying to get his edges here real good. You can always paint outside. A lot of people do plein air painting is what it's called. And it's hard, but it's really very therapeutic, and it's really a good way to learn. You just take an easel. They sell them everywhere. They're plein air easels. And you set them up. They're sturdy. And you actually kind of paint a still life of what's around you. And you can go in and finish it up if you want to, but standing outside, and you have to kind of work quick because the sun changes and it'll change the hue of what's around you and all that. But paint outside this summer. Get outside in your yard and find a pretty flower bed or something and get out there and enjoy painting some of the pretty summer things. I always want to take it to the beach and paint on the shore. People think you're a nut. But beautiful, beautiful sunrises and sunsets. Get his little nostril holes. Using the corner of this little square brush to do that. Darken this edge again. Darken this edge. He's starting to come alive, you see? He's starting to come alive. And I will be painting with some acrylic, but oil is my very favorite. It's forgiving. You can spread and move and change very easily with oil paint. A little messy. But if you don't know how to do oil, just watch this show. See how easy it smooths? It smooths everything out real good. I'm getting into this pure white right here. I need to define his nose a little. Right in here. It needs to stick out. Just this one side, because that's kind of where our light source is. Then it comes down. His shoulder's got a highlight on it, right here. His little leg right here has a highlight. We don't want to miss it. And I'll get that that fan brush in a minute, and we'll do the little hair. And that kind of makes him, I'll be honest, those little hairs just kind of make him. There we go. We don't want bags under his eyes. He looks like he's eating good. Let's get this lighter under here. Now I'm going to put a little bit of a light lip down here. And then another shadow underneath his nose, and that'll help it stand out a little bit. His nose is sticking out, so we want to shadow it right under here, there, and here as well. And if you do get out this summer, like vacation, that kind of thing, take your phone or your camera, take some good pictures, keep them on your phone, and then when you do have the time, go get them developed and paint. Don't waste the summer. Use the beautiful outdoor picturesque moments and put them on your phone. And then this winter, when it's all yucky again, you can have those develop and do some painting. I saw such a pretty sunset at the beach this year, I almost cried. It was amazing. Just right over the ocean, and it was blood orange. It was beautiful. All right, here we go into some pink. Let's fatten him up over here a little bit. I'm going to get down to his legs. This side is a little darker because, like I say, your light source is this way. Go. He's just chilling out on the side of a stall somewhere. So we have him kind of leaning in. He's kind of lopsided to one side. Now he's got a dark crevice here. I've got a Bob Ross voice. Here we go. Now if I get on this show with an afro, don't be surprised. He did real well with his show. Here we go. Clean my brush. Get into some lighter pink. Highlight this area right here. And we're getting close, folks. Oh, he's darling. And sometimes just broad, deliberate strokes give it a really cool, rather than being quite so tick-tacky detailed, just kind of do some large, quick strokes like this. And it kind of gives it an impressionistic, artistic look. Now I'm going to get back into this white. Real light over here. Real light right here. There we go. What the leftover white on my brush, I'm just going to shove it around over here a little bit. Do his little pointy feet down here, and then we'll start some high detail on his face. Hang on just a second. Let's get these feet pointy. He's actually got a little purpley pink down in here. Probably poor circulation. There we go. Isn't he darling? Once again, I'm trying to make his little fat rolls kind of show because he's a pig. You know, if you did gain a little weight over the COVID pandemic, tan it and dress it cute. That's all you need to do. Tan it and dress it cute. I mean, you know, who doesn't love a little pig? There we go. I'm going to add some more dark right down here. Now I'm going to kind of go crazy on these details real quick. Get his nose highlight and shadowed the way it should be. Take your brush and pull it up like this. There we go. Take your brush and pull it down. Hair, hair, hair. Oh, diddle squat. I meant to do black. Hang on. Don't want him too brown. There we go. It's just paint. You can fix it. More right around here. Get that defined a little bit more. Make this darker too. Once you get dark on your brush, go ahead and look around at the places that need dark paint. And just use your leftover dark paint on what needs to be darker. His eyes need a little more work. And then I'm going to get this fan brush in a minute and show you how to do cute little hairs on a pig. Now, let me get that smaller brush again and we're going to work on his nostrils. Let's get them deep. Once again, I'm going to have to put my pinky down. Keep that steady. Because if you shake just a little bit, you'll lose your line. Put it down. Hold your place. There we go. Clean that off. Get rid of these canvas holes around his little nostril. Blend in these shadows right here. Bring his nose on out. And I said this a lot before, but you just need to paint what you see if you agree with it or not. Because once you stand back and look, you're like, oh yeah, I see why I did that. It makes sense now. This needs a little more pink down here. Now, I'll show you the white little tip highlights make all the difference in the world. Watch this. Even just on the nostril, doing a little white highlight there, white highlight there. This really makes it pop. Now, I'm not through with his mouth yet, but right there. Get pure white. Don't mix with anything else. Eyeball. Eyeball. And he just comes to life. Now then you want to get eyelashes on this little booger. Let me get the dark first so those eyelashes really show. Hang on. Right around here, get rid of those canvas holes. Make sure it's dark enough. Then I want to get this little brush and go whew, whew, like that. There's two. A couple over here. Whew, whew. Isn't he darling? And then two, need a little bit of a highlight. Well, we've got that one there. Let's do one right under here. It needs to be a little bit. Highlight there, highlight here. It just kind of makes his nose look wet. Here's his little mouth. Now, let me get rid of these canvas holes and then we're going to do some little hairs, okay? I don't want to rush, but the fun part's getting those little teeny hairs on him, and it'll make it. Blend some of that in. Changing brushes again. Here we go. Right here. Let's blend some of that in. Blend some of that in. You see him? How cute. And pigs aren't supposed to be all neat and clean. They're kind of dirty, so it's okay if he's a little dirty looking. As a matter of fact, you might want to intentionally make him a little dirty looking. Now I'm going to also get my black, and I'm going to define this shadow here under his foot. Right here. Helps it look a little more dimensional. Right there. Right here. Let's get a little dimension. Right here. Because he's a big old boy leaned over here on the edge of his stall, waiting on his next meal. There we go, right here. A little shadow here. More eye boogers. I don't know that I'm missing anything. I might be a little bit. I'm just going to kind of throw in some strong detail right here at the end. Now, with your fan brush, I've got this size, and I think I'm going to do the little one. Let me make sure. I think it'll be all right. Little teeny fan brush. Get it wet with your mineral spirits. Then dip it in your pure white. And what I want to do is just get on the edge of this and just kind of do this. Bring these little hairs up. Oh my goodness, this is so cute. Bring these little hairs up like this. And it just makes him look so sweet. There's one here, little hair here. You know, they don't brush their hair. There we go. Isn't he cute? All right, some more over here. And if you get a little carried away, it's all right. Bring a little hair in here. I'm going to do, hang on, let me make sure I don't have too much. There's some hair there. There's some hair there. All along the edges of these ears are little hairs like this. Just very fine. These actually kind of go up like that. And that helps with the motion of his, look how cute, the motion of his little ears. There's a long one or two in here. So take your fan brush and just use the very edge of it, kind of like this, like that. Give him a few really loose. There we go. And you want to kind of get some pure white. Put some little hair on his little face, on his chinny chin. Here you go. Little hair down here. Doesn't that just make it? Up through here. Little hair. Little hair up through here. Oh my goodness, he's darling. All through here. That's kind of why I picked him, because I thought these little hairs were so cute. And he's a little whimsy painting you can enjoy. He'd be cute in the kitchen. Put a little sign down below him that says, let's eat. Again. Right here. There's a little hair right here. Right here. And that's one reason I wanted it dark under his nose, so you could see those. Kind of right down in here. Don't want him too hairy. And we're about finished. He went right in there. Let me see, where else does he need one? Maybe a little fray one up here. We're about done though. Here. Ooh. And if you get a few wild ones, it's okay. It makes it interesting. It'll draw your eye to it. Let's say this one right here, he's a little cruddy right in here. I'm going crazy with it. Now, one other thing I want to do, and we'll be through. I want to get this bigger brush right here, and I want to do yellow and brown and white and do some hay. Just kind of around him, just to make you realize he's in a barn and his buddies are all there, and it's where the homeboys hang. There we go, because that little edge is kind of boring. So let's do some hay right here on the edge. Easy peasy, just get your brush, pull it, put your highlight, your yellow, your brown, pull it up, pull it down. Pull it up, pull it down. There we go. There we go. Little highlights. All right, think them through. Hope you guys enjoyed the little pig. Isn't he darling? Hope you'll try something like this at home. See you next time on the Art Corner.